The MCU, the once unstoppable cinematic powerhouse that brought us decade-defining movies such as Iron Man, Avengers, and Infinity War. Now it will be fair to say that recently there's been a few slight missteps.
Can you see me?
Fleeting hit alert.
You ain't never gotta hit me if I'm
Oh, you are way more fun than my last lawyer.
The terrorists only set us back a bit.
You have to stop calling them terrorists.
Did he just throw the gun?
I don't know what I'm doing!
These missteps have brought many to say that the MCU is in its end phase, with the latest Marvel movies receiving diminishing returns in regards to their box office performances. In this video, we take a look over the entire 15-year lifetime of the MCU to find the 5 biggest box office flops Marvel has given us, and whether the numbers confirm the current apathy many feel towards the superhero genre. Number 5. Captain America, the First Avenger. Now, the much-loved Captain America, played by Chris Evans, made his first appearance in the MCU on July the 22nd, 2011. Captain America the First Avenger takes place in the 1940s, during the heights of World War II. We see the journey Steve Rogers goes through as he becomes Captain America. He gets injected with the super soldier serum, loses his best friend Bucky Barnes, and faces off against the Hydra leader Johann Schmidt, also known as the Red Skull. I wonder why. The film ends as Steve Rogers crashes Red Skull's aircraft, which is equipped with weapons of mass destruction. He crashes the aircraft into the Arctic ice. Steve Rogers then wakes up as Nick Fury tells him he's been asleep in the Arctic ice for nearly 70 years. Captain America the First Avenger was released 2 months after the first Thor movie and just under a year after Iron Man 2. Many enjoyed its 1940s World War II setting and some impressive CGI work for the time, especially the first half of the movie, with Chris Evans reduced to the skinny, pre-serumed Steve Rogers, with the use of inventive visual effects. Captain America received an 80% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 75% audience score. Box office results, however, were not brilliant, with a budget of $140 million, double it for marketing, giving Captain America the First Avenger a total budget of $280 million. Captain America made $370 million at the box office, giving a total profit of $90 million. Returning $50 million less than Thor and only a third of the profit of Iron Man 2. Number 4. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The most recent film in the MCU and the first film of Phase 5, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is certainly not a title that rolls off the tongue, with the confirmation for many that the MCU had lost its way. Quantumania, much easier to say, introduces Jonathan Majors' Kang the Conqueror, as the entire Ant-Man family is thrown into the quantum realm. They face off against quirky quantum creatures, Bill Murray, and Kang as they try to find a way back home. Quantumania receives a joint worst critical rating of any MCU film on Rotten Tomatoes, standing at 47%, which is equal to Eternals, a film which will also feature on this list very soon. Paul Rudd and Jonathan Majors come out of the movie scarred but unscathed, with many praising their performances, despite a lousy script and terrible CGI. Most of the movie felt completely soulless, with large segments obviously taking place in front of a green screen and a volume stage. The emotional core and charm of the previous Ant-Man films seemed to be replaced with the brown sludge of the quantum realm, and a story void of any character development or consequences. Quantumania's production was $200 million, double it for marketing, and we have a total budget of $400 million. The 31st film in the MCU made a total of $465 million at the box office, resulting in a profit of just $65 million. Out of the 31 MCU films that have been released, the average profit is $542 million per film. The $65 million that Quantumania made is less than 12% of the average profit Marvel have come to expect. Make no mistake, Quantumania was a huge financial failure for the MCU. Number 3. Eternals. In early 2022, Eternals hit theatres. Taking place 3 months after Shang-Chi, Eternals promised a new, exciting team of superheroes, who have been living on Earth in secret for thousands of years. they take on an ancient enemy, the Deviants. The small Eternals team consists of Fina, Ajax, Cersei, no, not that one, Icarus, Kingo, Sprite, Phastos, Makari, Druig, and Gilgamesh, and Kit Harington and Harry Styles make an appearance too. This of course is way too many characters to introduce and establish, and is just one of the main factors in why the film was a financial and critical failure. Although Eternals does its best to answer why this group didn't do anything when Thanos wiped out half of the universe, it fails to overcome that fundamental question. Eternals seem to be solely focused on being the most diverse film in the MCU.
This is a diverse cast, and they're showing more diversity. I think that's important.
To see many great diverse cast.
I love the diversity of our cast.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's going to bring something special and different.
Everybody looks different. Everybody sounds different.
That it completely forgot to be interesting or entertaining. The tomato meter score stands at 47%, and the audience score stands at 77%. Looking at the financials, Eternals had a budget of $200 million, double it for marketing, and the total budget comes to $400 million. Eternals made $401 million at the box office. The movie made a profit of $1 million. Number 2. The Incredible Hulk. Cast your mind back to June 13th, 2008. A few months after Iron Man came out, the second film in the MCU was released. The Incredible Hulk starred Edward Norton playing the titular character before the recasting of the Hulk to Mark Ruffalo. Norton gives a curious and brooding performance as Bruce Banner, and the surrounding cast do more than a passable job. While certainly better than the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk film, The Incredible Hulk had a lackluster climax and dark colour palette, resulting in a run-of-the-mill, meh, that was okay movie. Masterfully summarised by the critics at Film 4, Hulk not smash, Hulk building block, Hulk make franchise. The Incredible Hulk was the second film in the MCU, and is in fact the second worst performing MCU movie in terms of box office results. It makes you wonder what conversations were had at Disney and Marvel at the time in regards to the future of the MCU, after The Incredible Hulk flopped at theatres. In a parallel universe, perhaps this would have been enough to can the MCU before it reached its incredibly successful stage. Let's not forget, although there are obviously some poor movies in the MCU, over 30% of Marvel's films have grossed over $1 billion. The MCU is the biggest franchise ever in terms of box office returns. The Incredible Hulk had a budget of $137 million, doubled for marketing, gives us a total budget of $274 million. During its theatrical run, The Incredible Hulk sold $265 million in ticket sales, meaning it made a loss of $9 million. Number 1. The biggest financial failure of the MCU is Black Widow. Released on July the 9th, 2021, initially intended for May the 1st, Black Widow suffered the consequences of the COVID pandemic more than any other film in the MCU. The box office performance of Black Widow was largely suppressed by the worldwide government restrictions in place at the time, as well as the fear many shared to go outside for anything other than essential shopping or meeting close relatives. On top of these issues, Disney released Black Widow on their streaming service Disney+, the same day that it was released in cinemas. This led to a legal challenge from the lead actress Scarlett Johansson, as she claimed Disney was in breach of contract by releasing the film on Disney+, the same time that Black Widow hit theatres. Black Widow had a 68% second week box office decline, which is the second worst decline of any film in the MCU, behind Quantumania. With a budget of $200 million, double for marketing makes a total budget of $400 million. Set against a box office return of $379 million, leaves Black Widow making a loss of $21 million. Meaning Black Widow is the MCU's worst performing movie over its 15-year lifetime. When we look deeper into the financials of the MCU, two of its worst performing movies are in Phase 1, Captain America the First Avenger and The Incredible Hulk. But the remaining three worst performing films all take place within the last 3 years, 2 in Phase 4, Black Widow and Eternals, and 1 in Phase 5, Ant-Man Quantumania. If we take the profit per film, During each phase of the MCU, Phase 3, so the Black Panther, Infinity War and Endgame phase, has an average profit per film of just under 800 million. In Phase 4, the average profit per film was half of that, coming in at just under 400 million. And as for Phase 5, the initial kick-off film for this phase, Ant-Man Quantumania, shows that the MCU is still heading in the wrong direction. Perhaps the MCU's decline is just superhero fatigue. After almost 2 decades of non-stop superhero movies, perhaps it's the inevitable setup stage, post Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., that will reap its rewards later on in Phase 6. Or maybe it's a case of go woke, go broke. Or possibly, it's just bad movie fatigue. Perhaps with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming soon, the MCU could pick up steam and return to its Phase 3 levels of hit after hit. But then again, after Guardians comes the Marvels, which certainly isn't going to be uncontroversial. Anyway, what do you think? Is the MCU in an irredeemable decline? Or are Phase 5 and Phase 6 going to be a return to form for the powerhouse studio? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. It's early days for Film Club, so liking, commenting and subscribing really helps the channel to grow. We are producing video essays like this one every week, so if you enjoyed this video, then perhaps I'll see you again. Thank you, and goodbye.